people seem to be talking and focus more on how it was delivered rather than what was delivered tonight.
Well, that's very common in presidential debates, particularly televised ones. And from a Democratic point of view, this was an unmitigated disaster. In terms of televised debates, this is the worst performance by a candidate, either Republican or Democrat, in history. That's just the way it is. And, I think on Twitter and a lot of social media, Democrats are just freaking out. And there's talk, serious talk. What can we do to convince Joe Biden to step down and maybe get another candidate for the fall?
Tom Whalen, you're a presidential historian. Could that realistically happen?
Well, the way the rules are set up, it would take President Biden, it would be his decision to make, because unlike in the 1960s, when you could go to the convention, you could get a candidate from the floor and you could overturn like a sure nominee, so-called. Under the existing rules now, it would have to be the president because he's won the primaries. The people at the convention, they're the ones who have already selected him. So
we'd have to turn over his delegates, correct?
Right, his delegates. And that's the problem here. President Biden would have to remove himself, and I'm not sure that he'd be willing to at this stage.
Tom, the debate itself, it apparently has moved the needle in terms of performance, I would assume, rather than substance, right? It clearly moved that needle.
I think on substance, President Trump was all over the map. He was telling up flat out lies. He took no responsibility for the January 6th insurrection, which I thought was incredible. Very weak on abortion. And, but President Biden, even though I think, on substance, he did better than Trump, he could not hit his points. He kind of flailed away. He lost his train of thought. He kind of stared blankly at points. It was cringeworthy, frankly.
There were gaps of 5, 6, 7 seconds with no audio whatsoever in it. Who came out better in this? I mean, obviously it's sounding like that just because he stood there and looked into the camera, Donald Trump came out better. Who came out better?
Well, optics is politics, right? And I think Trump wins on that basis alone. But in many ways, the true winner from this debate is probably going to be a third-party candidate like Robert Kennedy Jr. Because, for the double haters going into this debate, I don't think they're convinced either way to go for either candidate. But they might be open now to a third-party candidate. So you might see Robert Kennedy Jr. Numbers tick upward into, double digits.
I mean, it's 131 days away. How much of an impact will tonight have? And do you see something happening tomorrow or in the coming days where perhaps there is this movement to shift things around simply based on what we saw this evening?
I think there's going to be a full court press by the Democratic establishment to get President Biden to step down, to move aside and let another candidate become the nominee, have like an open convention. I think a deciding factor for President Biden would be what would his family say? It would be a very tough conversation, but I mean, that's where we're at right now. This, again, I can't stress enough how bad the president was in this. This is a performance of historic proportions, and they're not good.
Wow.
BU Professor Tom Whalen, it's great to see you. Thank you for your insight.
Thank you so much, Tom.